All right, we're here at East LA, and growing up as a kid, the arches was one thing that reminded me of back to school. We used to come shopping as kids for the back to school clothing, for entertainment, foods, and other things you can do. In the shadows of the actual arch, I don't know the history behind it, but I know somebody that's gonna help me out. Let's take it down to Foo Howser.
So we're standing in front of the iconic Whittier Boulevard arch. Weighs 14 tons and cost $280,000 when it was first installed back in 1986. But in order to really truly understand the history of this place, we got to go back to August 29th, 1970. On that day, there was an anti-Vietnam War protest down the street at Laguna Park that turned into violence and chaos when the sheriff's department came in, started shooting gas canisters into the crowd to disperse them. It turned into utter chaos. People started running away, and eventually that actually turned into a riot and looting. A lot of the buildings here on Whittier Boulevard were burned down, and unfortunately after that incident, the boulevard kind of fell into disrepair. There was, cracked sidewalks, graffiti on the wall, litter in the streets, and the people that had businesses here on Whittier Boulevard, they were determined to revitalize this place and make it back to the hub of Latino commerce that Whittier Boulevard used to be. So in 1978, they kind of started formulating the idea of how they were going to bring the boulevard back. Finally, in 1984, they managed to get $6 million from the city and the county to repair the streets, to do beautification projects like installing the palm trees. And of course, the centerpiece of this, the redevelopment is the Whittier Boulevard Arch. Officially, it's called El Arco, and it spans 65 feet across Whittier Boulevard. And their intent with it was to have it be like a welcome gate that welcomes you to East LA and onto Whittier Boulevard and encourages you to come shop. And I think they managed to pull off what they were aiming for, because the Whittier Boulevard Arch has become not only an iconic landmark of East LA, but it's become ingrained in Chicano culture, and it's forever associated with lowrider cruising.
Imagine a journey where history meets innovation, where a beloved landmark comes to life in a way you've never seen before. Welcome to 3D printing, adventure of iconic Whittier Boulevard Arch. In this video, we'll take you behind the scenes on the fantastic process of bringing this architectural marvel to life. Layer by layer, we'll explore the intricate details, the challenges, and the excitement of transforming this digital blueprint into a tangible masterpiece. Either you're a seasonable 3D printing enthusiastic or just curious about cutting-edge technology, join us and celebrate the fusion of art, history, innovation. Get ready to witness the magic of 3D printing and rebirth of the Whittier Boulevard Arch right before your eyes.
So if you guys can see the design, the pattern design, it's very labyrinth in here, and I'm gonna try to work with a couple pictures to get the sign down. The color of it's a little bit yellow, kind of like a cream color, but the sign looks like it's faded out, and I know it was a dark green color back in the days. Now the only thing, the fonts are going to be a little difficult to find, the bottom font. Let me see if we could get, because the 3D printer at 2.0, we're going to see if we could actually print that out. But if you guys can see, it looks beautiful. At night, even better.
All right, so this is the one way that you can figure out how to build something very simple. So I'm going to show you the proper steps that you're supposed to take to build your own 3D model. So my project here is a Whittier sign, as you can see. So what you do is just grab any picture. I just typed in Whittier Boulevard sign. Hundreds of different pictures came out. Choose the best one for you to trace. Yes, that's right, to trace. There's not a tutorial about Adobe Illustrator, how to use it. So I'm going to show you the actual steps I took. All right, so I'm going to open my Adobe, what I created. It took me maybe a couple hours to recreate this. If you're familiar with Adobe, it shouldn't, it's not that difficult. But this is what the model that I came with, right? Here's the structure I recreated, if you guys can see that. So you can do this if you have some of the knowledge of how to build this. But look at the actual design. It's not that bad. Now, we're going to go ahead and take this program to Tinkercad. And this is a free application that anybody can use in there. So once you get your design going, all you got to do is import as SVG, all right? So I have it here. If you guys can see my right here, SVG, which I export into SVG from Illustrator. So once you get your program and your file going, all you got to do is drag it in there, import it. I leave everything default, but you could change the width and the size if you want to make sure that you want to remove certain backgrounds. Import it in there. Wait a couple minutes or seconds, and it should come into the system. Once you get in here, this is where the magic happens. Now, if you guys can see the design, it's well perfect, but it's a little too thick for some of us, you know, and so it will print beautifully on one end. But what you can do is that you could click on it, and here you could change the dimensions from here. It's very simple. So this one will bring it up, but from here, look at this. You could actually shrink it down. All right, we try many different ways of actually printing this out. Well, instead of 4.0, we're gonna change it down the nozzle to 2.0, 0.20. All right, here's a 2.0, 2.0 millimeters. It comes in like this. They even give you tools that I'm not gonna even need. So all right, we think we got it now. It's the font. Unfortunately, I tried different fonts, it didn't work, so I had to change it back to something more thicker. So we're not giving up on this. We're gonna do one last test, see how it works. All right, I had better results on the 0.2 nozzle than instead of the 4 and the 2. It's legible. That's why. On the 2, it was not legible, but I was able to actually add the original fonts and very good working. I mean, these are my prototypes I created at first, but if you guys can see, I had to change the filament a couple of things. It wasn't strong and it wasn't getting short lines. It was actually not finishing out through the corners, so it took me quite a while. And if I try to do a stand-up, this is what happens when you do the standing up straight up. It was very difficult because I was trying to emboss both sides on it, but I had to do a flat way. That's the only way I was able to put it straight flat and get the actual product that I want. Now I try to do it this way, standing up straight, but unfortunately it created this mess, the trees. And then it didn't feel completely finished up, so it's not even worth doing the standing up. I tried different methods, of course. I spend tons of hours just trying to get this right correctly. But overall, at the end, we got our final result. It came out beautiful. It printed out great. All right, this is my final result. As you can see, I took a page out of the real life art. It looks beautiful. I try to mimic some of the palm trees. I even put the poles on the corner. I printed out the road. I printed out the bench. Printed out some of the stuff, except for the palm trees. But I did print out a couple of palm trees. But overall, this thing came out beautiful. I am very pleased with how it came out. So we're going to end up doing some more landmarks. If you want to see more in-depth review on how I built this, check out my channel. I'm going to link it up here so you guys can see it, and also down below. But this is one of my favorite things to do now. I'm going to start printing out some dioramas of some of the LA landmarks.